Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to be tackling B2B SaaS sales team building.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, you've just landed a sales manager role at a startup.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And we're here to kind of help you hit those growth goals.
Awesome.
So we're going to be going through 2 articles today by Dr. Ari Masudi.
Love Ari Masudi.
Yeah, he's great. And pull out some, good takeaways for you.
Yeah, well, what I find really interesting is that he uses this analogy throughout both these articles of the great buffalo hunt.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Where you're the chief of the tribe and, leading your tribe to success.
Right. That's a great analogy. But how does that translate into building a sales team?
Well, think about it. Like when you're in an early stage of a startup, right? You're small, you're scrappy, you're just trying to get things off the ground.
Yeah, you're trying to, make it work.
And he calls that the island model. And so that is where you're basically the lone hunter that's responsible for finding the buffalo and bringing down the buffalo. Right. So that's, you're doing everything all in one.
Right. So you're saying like early Dropbox, early Slack.
Yeah, those are great examples. And each salesperson was like a multitasking superhero.
Whoa.
They had to do everything.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. But as you grow and you're hunting bigger game, then you need to specialize your tribes.
Right. That makes sense because you can't expect one person to do everything as the company scales.
Exactly.
So how does that specialization play out?
That's where you add the different branches to your sales team or your hunting party.
I like that.
So you start to bring in SDRs.
Sales development reps.
Yeah, sales development representatives and or BDRs, which are business development representatives, and they are your scouts. They're going to be identifying and qualifying leads.
Right.
And HubSpot is a really great example of a company that really utilizes this SDR program. And it was really a key driver to their growth. And so they have a process for identifying high potential prospects. They nurture them, and then they pass those qualified to the closers.
So the closers would be like the account executive.
Yep, the AEs. Yeah.
The Es.
Yep, they are responsible for converting those qualified leads into paying customers.
Gotcha.
And Salesforce is a great example of a company that really uses AEs well, and they segment their AEs by deal size and complexity.
That's smart.
Yeah, so that makes sure that each prospect is getting the right attention and maximizes their chance to close.
Okay, so SDRs, BDRs are finding, the Buffalo AEs are closing the deal. What happens after the Buffalo is captured?
That is where the CAMs step in, key account managers.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to build those long-term relationships with the captured Buffalo, making sure that they stay happy and they're satisfied, and then identifying opportunities for upsells and cross-sells. And a company that excels at this is Zendesk. They use CAMs to really drive that recurring revenue.
Oh, wow. I like this analogy. It's really painting a clearer picture.
Good.
But it seems like if I'm stepping into this role, I need to understand more than just the sales team itself.
That's 100% right. So Masudi stresses that you need a holistic approach.
Okay.
Your sales team, it doesn't exist in a vacuum.
Yeah.
And so he compares a B2B SaaS startup to a tree with 4 main branches. And so those are sales and marketing, delivery, tech and product, and then G&A, so general and administration.
So you're saying each of those plays a critical role in supporting the others.
Yes, exactly.
So it's not just about like closing deals.
Right.
It's about understanding how sales intertwines with the other departments.
Exactly. And a really great example of this is Intercom, and their customer success strategy very tightly integrated with their sales process.
Interesting.
So their delivery team not only ensures a smooth onboarding experience, but they also actively identify opportunities for expansion within those accounts.
So it's like win-win.
It is a total win-win. Customers are happy, and then the company keeps growing.
That's awesome. What about the tech and product side of things? How does that impact sales?
Oh, it's super crucial. Look at a company like Atlassian. They're known for their product-led growth strategy.
Yeah.
Their product is so good, so user-friendly, it kind of sells itself.
Wow.
And their tech and product teams work really closely with sales to make sure that they understand what the customer needs are, and they're always iterating and improving that product to meet those needs.
Makes sense.
And that just makes the sales process so much smoother because the product is already doing a lot of the heavy lifting.
Yeah, it's already solving the pain point.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. What about the G&A branch?
Right. People always forget about G&A.
It's like the unsung hero sometimes.
Yeah, it is. And they play a critical role. Zoom is a really great example of this. During the pandemic, when everybody went remote, their rapid growth wouldn't have been possible without a really efficient operation.
Wow.
They were able to scale their infrastructure so quickly and their processes to meet that surge in demand. And that allowed the sales team to really capitalize on that opportunity.
So even though they're not directly involved in closing deals,
Correct.
they're playing a crucial role in creating the environment for the sales to thrive.
Exactly. You're starting to get it. Now you're starting to see how all these different branches work together to make a healthy, thriving tree.
Yes, I'm seeing the big picture now. Yeah, this is giving me so much to think about as I step into this new role.
It's a lot to think about.
There's one piece of the puzzle, though, that we haven't really touched on yet, and that's hiring.
Right, and that's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
You are the chief hunter, and your success really hinges on building that rate.
Okay, bring it on. I'm ready for this challenge.
All right.
So we were just talking about hiring and how important that is as this new sales manager. And I mean, it's kind of a huge responsibility
It is. It really is.
to build the right team right from the beginning.
Yeah, Masudi, he talks a lot about this, finding the right people
Yeah.
and when to shift from that initial island model into a more specialized structure.
We touched on this a little bit at the end of the last part. You mentioned looking at things like sales cycle length
Yes.
and customer acquisition cost.
Yeah, those are some really good indicators.
Can you elaborate a bit more on those?
Absolutely. So let's say you're noticing that your sales cycle is increasing steadily.
Okay.
That could be a sign that your salespeople are getting bogged
Okay.
with too many tasks, from qualifying lead to negotiating contract.
Right. It's a lot.
Yeah, it is. And bringing in dedicated SDRs could really help streamline things and free up your AEs to focus on closing deals.
Okay. So it's about playing to everyone's strength. And what about customer acquisition cost?
Yes. So if you see your hack creeping up,
Okay.
that might be a sign that your current team structure is not as efficient as it could.
Gotcha.
Maybe mining is generating a ton of leads,
Okay.
but they're not being qualified properly.
And so you're
Wasting time and resources.
time and money.
Exactly. Or your sales process is complex, customer dropping off. So specializing roles and streamlining your approach could really reduce that.
Okay, so those are the numbers.
Yes.
To watch out for, what about the team themselves? How can I tell if my current structure is causing problems?
Really pay attention to how your sales.
Yeah.
Are they feeling overwhelmed? Are they struggling to juggle all the different aspects of the sales process?
It can get to be a lot.
It really can. And that can lead to burnout, decreased morale, and ultimately lower productivity.
It's like that old saying, jack of all trades, master of none.
Got it.
Trying to do everything means you're not doing anything well.
Exactly. Specialization allows people to focus on what they're best at,
Right.
become true experts in their area. And that not only leads to better individual performance, but it also creates a more collaborative and supportive team environment.
Because when everyone knows their specific roles,
Yes.
it's easier to work together effectively.
Absolutely. And a positive team dynamic that is really key to success. When a team communicates well, supports each other, and celebrates wins together, they're far more likely to achieve great things.
So let's say I've noticed some of these red flags.
Okay.
Longer sales cycles, the CAS is creeping up. There might be some signs of burnout.
Uh-oh.
I know I need to start specializing, but how do I actually make that happen?
Yeah.
I mean, like, restructuring an entire team sounds daunting.
It does sound scary, but you don't have to do it all at once.
Okay.
It's more of an evolution than a revolution.
Okay.
Just start by identifying the areas where specialization would make the biggest impact.
Okay.
So, for example, if your sales cycle is getting bogged down in the early stages,
Yeah.
adding a couple of SDRs could make a huge difference.
So start small.
Yes,
Test the waters and see how those changes impact the team.
exactly. And as you're implementing those changes, communication.
Of course.
Talk to your team, explain why you're making these changes, how it will benefit them, and how their roles might evolve.
Right.
Involving them in the process will make that transition so smoother.
That's an important point because change can be scary, especially in a startup environment
It's very true.
where things are already moving really fast.
Yes, they are.
So getting everyone on board, making them feel like they're part of the solution
Absolutely.
is so crucial.
Yes, and remember, you're not just building a team for today.
Right.
You're building a team for the future.
That brings up a great point.
Yeah.
We've talked about adapting to the current challenges, but what about anticipating future needs?
Yes.
How do I ensure the team that I'm building today
Right.
is ready for what's coming down the road?
Yeah, you need to think strategically.
Okay.
You need a clear vision for where your company is headed.
Why?
Are you planning on expanding to new markets? Are you targeting a different customer segment?
Makes sense.
What new products or features are you coming out with?
Right.
All of these things will influence the kind of sales team that you need to build.
So it's not just about filling those immediate gaps.
Yeah.
It's about anticipating those future challenges and building a team that can handle them. It's almost like chess, always thinking a few moves ahead.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And that also applies to the skills and qualities that you look for in your team members.
Okay.
Are there any emerging technologies that might disrupt your industry? Are customer expectations changing that require new approaches to selling?
Right.
Think about those things now and start building a team that can adapt and evolve as the landscape.
Okay. This is all great advice.
Good.
So we've got our data points. We know how to implement changes gradually.
Yes.
We're thinking strategically about the future.
Yep.
Is there anything else we should be thinking about?
Well, Masudi talks about the importance of adaptability and culture fit.
Okay.
You want people who are not only skilled, but also open to learning new things, embracing change, and contributing to a positive team environment.
We talked about culture fit a little bit earlier. Can you expand on what that actually means?
Yeah, in a fast-paced, high-growth environment like a startup.
Yeah.
Culture fit is about finding people who are comfortable with ambiguity, who can roll with who thrive on taking initiative.
Right.
People who are passionate about the company's mission
Yeah.
and are excited to be part of a team that's always pushing boundaries.
Okay, so it's not just about finding someone with the right skills on paper.
Right.
It's about finding people who align with the company's values.
Exactly.
And will thrive in that unique culture.
Yes, and that can be tricky.
Yeah.
To assess during the hiring process, you can't just ask someone, do you have good culture fit?
Right, like, do you like to have fun?
Exactly. Are you a culture ad?
Right.
So what are some practical ways that you can gauge that during the interview?
Yeah, like, how do you do that?
So one technique I like to use, behavioral interview.
Yeah.
Instead of asking hypothetical questions,
Right.
you ask about specific situations they've encountered in the past.
Okay.
So you can ask them something like, tell me about a time that you had to adapt to a sudden change in priorities. Or describe a situation where you had to work with a difficult teammate.
Interesting.
Their answers will give you insight into how they think, how they handle pressure, how they interact with others.
So you're getting beyond the resume
Exactly.
and really understanding who they are,
Yes.
how they would work with the team.
Absolutely. And you can also ask questions that are directly related to your company culture.
Okay.
So, for example, if collaboration is a core value, you might ask them about a time when they had to work effectively as part of a team to achieve a shared goal.
Okay, so it's really about finding people
Yes.
that not only have the skills, but also share those values.
Yeah.
And that will contribute to that positive work environment.
You got it. And remember, building a strong team culture that takes time and effort.
Yeah.
It's about setting clear expectations, leading by example, and fostering open.
Okay, so we covered a lot of ground in this part. We talked about those triggers that tell you it's time to specialize.
Yeah.
The importance of communication, gradual implementation, thinking strategically about the future, and of course, hiring for adaptability and culture fit.
We did it.
What else? We've spent the last two parts talking about team structure hiring, adapting to the ever-changing landscape of B2B SaaS.
It's a lot.
It is. There's a lot to keep in mind. What else should I have on my radar?
Yeah, so once you have the right people in place,
Right.
it's super important to empower them with the right tools and resources.
Okay.
And this is where sales enablement.
Okay.
You got to give your hunters the sharpest spears, and the sturdiest bow.
So we're talking technology training, that sort of thing?
Exactly. Investing in a top-notch sales enablement platform can really make a huge difference.
What kind of features should I be looking for?
Well, think about the challenges that your team is facing. Are they struggling to find the right content to share with prospects?
Okay.
Are they spending too much time on administrative tasks?
Right.
A good sales enablement platform can really help automate a lot of those processes and free up your team to focus on selling.
Makes sense. What about training? How do I make sure that my team has the skills they need?
Yeah, the B2B SaaS world is constantly evolving. New technologies, new sales methodologies, customer expectations are always changing.
That's true.
And so you have to provide ongoing training and development opportunities for your team.
What kind of?
It could be anything from online courses, workshops, in-person conferences, industry events. There's a lot out there. The key is to keep their skills sharp and their knowledge up to date.
So it's an ongoing thing.
It is an ongoing investment in their professional growth.
That's great. And it's not just about hard skills.
Oh, no, absolutely not. Soft skills are equally important.
Like what?
Communication, active listening, negotiation, relationship building.
Those are important.
Super important. You have to be able to build trust with your prospects, understand their needs, and ultimately close deals.
Okay, so we've got our team equipped with the right tools. We've got them trained. What about keeping them motivated?
Yes, motivation is key, especially in a startup environment.
Yeah, because things can get pretty intense.
They can get really demanding, and so you have to create a culture of recognition and reward.
Okay, how do we do that?
Celebrate successes, both big and small, acknowledge individual contributions, and foster a sense of camaraderie.
Okay, so it's about creating that positive environment.
Exactly. People work harder, they're more invested when they feel valued and appreciated.
And having clear goals.
Yes, absolutely. People need to understand what they're working towards and how their individual efforts contribute to the overall success.
So setting those targets, providing regular feedback, celebrating those milestones along the way.
Exactly. And, find ways to connect their individual goals to the company's mission and vision.
Oh, that's good, yeah?
When people feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves, their work takes on a whole new level of meaning and purpose.
So it's not just about hitting those numbers.
No.
It's about making a real impact.
It is. And you as the sales leader, you play such a crucial role in setting the tone and inspiring your team.
Okay.
Lead by example, be enthusiastic, be positive, and show your team that you believe in them and you believe in the product that you sell.
Because passion is contagious.
It really is. If you're excited about the mission, that energy is going to ripple through the entire.
That's a good point.
And remember, building a high-performance high-performing sales team takes time, it takes effort, and it takes a commitment to continuous improvement.
It's a journey.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Exactly. And that means investing in your people, developing their skills, fostering a positive and supportive culture, and constantly seeking ways to improve your processes, strategies.
Always improving.
Always improving. Be open to new ideas. Be willing to experiment and learn from your mistakes.
It's all about learning and growing.
It really is.
Well, this has been an amazing deep dive. I've learned so much. Any final words of wisdom for our listeners who are, embarking on their sales team building adventure?
Remember, you are the chief hunter leading your tribe on this exciting and challenging journey. Strategic, be adaptable, and never stop learning. And most importantly, believe in yourself and your team's ability to achieve great things.
That wraps up our deep dive into building a B2B SaaS sales team. We hope you found it helpful, and we wish you all the best in your journey. Good luck out there, and happy hunting.